What's going on, guys? This is the Fullstack bro coming at you with another video today. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to become a successful developer. Now, I've been in the development space for, oh my God, about 10 plus years now. And I've started as a web designer and I transitioned over into becoming a full stack developer today. Now, the way I got there, it took a lot of work, hard work, and just failing every single time with different projects and just understanding exactly what needs to be done when it comes to just getting into just a tech job in general. Just getting a job in tech was very easy. It was a skill that not a lot of people had. So if you wanted to build a website, you would have to reach out to a web designer that had that experience. Luckily for me, I got lucky. I learned everything that I know, at least the core foundations of what I know, in high school. So picture 4 years in a computer science shop, learning how to build websites, how to work with C++ programming, database management using Oracle. I think I did a little bit of MySQL back then too, when it started to get up on the rise there. But what we're going to be talking about is how you could become successful as a developer, especially if you're just starting out, to land your first job and not be just taken back by, I can't find a job because either the market's too oversaturated or I just don't have the skills. So first thing that you need to understand when you want to become a developer and you want to jump into this space is that you have to master the basics. There's no way around it. You can't shortcut your way into finding a job or being able to code effectively. You have to master the basics. Now, what this means is when it comes to different projects or whatever language that you want to pursue, you have to figure out what your why is. Why do you want to become a developer? Not just because of how much it pays, but do you thoroughly enjoy writing code? Do you thoroughly enjoy building websites or building apps? This is what you need to determine. And the way you do this is just based off of doing research on your own and then understanding exactly what you need to do to go that route and try different languages that might fit your need. When it comes to building websites, you want to look into HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Those are your three main core foundations for building a website. Then once you get into like back-end architecture of a website, there's many different routes that you could go. You could do PHP programming. A lot of content management systems or CMSs like WordPress, Joomla. You could build a fully functioning website, right, on the front end, and then also use the power of PHP to enhance that website, to make it more secure, to be able to manage data on the database side, to manage how your website is able to capture login information, so user accounts, protect those user accounts, and also manage the content that's on your website. So what a lot of companies are doing now is that they're using either drag and drop feature or a platform like Wix. There's also Webflow is a big one that I've been hearing about as well. You can actually jump into learning how to do Webflow applications or websites and provide a need for companies to build a website more effectively, but then also provide an easy interface to where they can support it on their own, just adding content, and then you get pulled in for like no functionalities. When it comes to just what you want to do, once you understand your why, then you could start investing time in learning and just building, right? You could invest in a course online that probably will cost you like $20 to $100, and that will be an investment in yourself. You doing the research on YouTube first to see what you want to do, and then investing in a course, and then spending time going through that course and building and figuring out a project that you want to do on your own that's not already pre-built for you. That's going to help you understand the foundations a little bit better, and then also have the confidence to build something on your own. And then when it comes to critical thinking and solving problems, this is what developers have to do every single day, is solve problems. You're going to be forced to think outside the box a lot of the time. And some people are not geared for that. Some people, it takes them a long time to just solve one easy problem, and they get discouraged because it took that long. So the best way to go about this is understanding algorithms, data structures, understand how that could help incorporate solving complex problems when needed, and how you could go about writing your code to solve these problems. Understanding algorithms to where it automatically you could create a workflow to build out a feature and make it more efficient is the way to go. Have that mindset as to how a user would use that project, right? How they would use your app. And based off of that, and switching from a developer that's just building it out based off of the requirements, and then a user that's going to be interacting with your app, you're going to come with a lot of different new features and tools that you're going to be building into it. Second thing that will help you become more successful is just building projects, and then not just doing to-do lists or building a Netflix clone or a LinkedIn clone, right? There's a lot of different clones that are out there that a lot of, I guess, YouTube developers have presented and giving you the blueprint to do it, and you're just following through that tutorial. And I'm not saying that is the worst thing in the world. Now, tutorials are very beneficial if you wanted to understand something that you don't know, and it helps to do a tutorial, but then at the end of the day, you have to understand what's in that tutorial. You understood the foundations of what is being built, why it's being built, why the tech stack that's chosen for this tutorial is being used, what's the ease of use there. Once you understand that, then you have a better way of, instead of using what's in that tutorial in terms of the tech stack, you could use your own tech stack to build it, right? That makes you more unique. Not just going through a tutorial and say, like, I did this based off of this person's tutorial and this is the code that I wrote. You can't do that. You have to, at least like with a tutorial, look at it from scope of the project, but then think about ways to make it better, right? And build it to your own strengths, not to what was in the tutorial. So if you do that, that's gonna help you put yourself more out there in terms of getting the job done for a particular company that needs a developer for their app. So work on personal projects, go to ChatGPT, ask questions about what projects can I build? And based off of the answer that you receive, if there's something that you like in that list that it pre-generates for you, just start executing, start getting your tech stack together and just start building. It doesn't have to be perfect. As long as you start building and you start iterating on it over time, and you could present this to people that you're interviewing with and just show them like, hey, I'm building out this project, I'm working on this tech stack based off of different ideas that I wanted to work with, and this is something that I'm very passionate about, you'll get more brownie points for that as opposed to just working on something that everybody else is doing. The next thing when it comes to tech, like I said, I've been doing this for 10 plus years. The biggest thing is staying up to date with different technologies. Now, if you are already well-versed in a tech stack and you're comfortable with that, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be as comfortable, right? So it's good to learn a new tech stack, library, or framework that could potentially solve a problem. And the way you would go about learning these new technologies as they come out is either on YouTube, if you subscribe to like a tech YouTuber like myself. Definitely, if you haven't subscribed to me, please just subscribe and share this video if this is beneficial to you so far. But do the research on that. Look at tech blogs, look at different articles that are out there, out on the web on different technologies within your space, and see if it's a good fit for you, and just try it out. If it solves a need for better productivity, better code management, increased performance on apps or websites, go for it. Also for the back end as well. If you are strictly front end, then obviously look into front end frameworks. If you're back end, look into back end frameworks that could help you improve data management and all that. Staying up to date will help you understand exactly what tech stack that's going to be beneficial to you, and also what companies are using today. And then the next thing too, to become successful, you have to write clean code. Now, to write clean code, it depends on the coding standard, right? Not a lot of companies have a good coding standard to write clean code and how to go about structuring your code in different ways to solve a problem. This is gonna come down to how the actual project is structured out. And if it's already in a good spot where, for example, you're using React Query to manage your APIs and then creating custom hooks for that, so that you can just pull in data that you need without using a bunch of use effects in your app if you're using React, that's going to help you maintain a clean structure. It's going to clean up a lot of that unnecessary redundancy across the board and just make things easier for new developers coming in, looking at your code and understanding exactly what's going on. So writing clean code and just looking at different ways to write code more effectively. It's just going to come with time, and then also the research of how others are writing their code, and then following a standard and putting together a standard if you haven't done so already, to make sure that everything is aligned. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to flow. And then also, if you're working with like a big team or a small team, code review is very important. Having code review and just checking things in is just going to run into having to deal with tech debt in the future once you start adapting that process. So code review, having a developer on your team, or if you have a tech lead or a senior developer, tag them in your PRs or your pull requests for pushing things into the QA environment for testing, making sure that the code actually looks good, that there's no issues with it. If it's using the correct standard, that's going to save you a lot of time, and then also give you valuable feedback in terms of how to write your code and just solve those little gotchas that happen. So you're finished with a feature or fixing a bug. The next thing is definitely communication. If you want to become successful, you have to communicate. Now, a lot of developers, what they like to do is just work and they say what they have to do, and that's it. And it's okay. I'm totally for that. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. But if you want to, say, for example, go from junior to senior or level up in your career, you're gonna have to work on your communication skills. There's no way around it. You have to learn how to talk with product managers, stakeholders that are invested in a project that you're working on, understanding business logic versus engineering logic, where you're talking at a different level. So if I'm talking with the engineers that I'm working with on this particular project, I'll be more technical forward with it, right? Talking about the code, talking about how to implement different features and back-end infrastructure, front-end infrastructure, and just getting to a common place to where like both agree or we all agree and we just start executing. Versus the business logic. The business logic is, why are we building this feature out? What the users are going to be doing with this feature? What is the potential benefit? Understanding the key requirements and just understanding exactly what needs to be built. Because a lot of times what happens, you would work on a project, right? You look at the requirements that were put together with the stakeholders and the product manager, and you think everything is all good. What you need to do is look at the requirements and really think about it from a user standpoint, not just from an engineering standpoint. And you're going to either get rid of some requirements that were documented that might not be needed anymore, or add key requirements that might come up as you're working through the project. Just training your brain to communicate in different ways in terms of getting a project across the finish line and making sure that the requirements are efficient enough to where the users are going to be happy and you're not going to run into any gotchas at the last minute is going to help you. So working on your soft skills, communicating every single day is going to help you succeed and not waste your time on working on requirements that are not needed anymore. Communication, and then also teamwork, not being isolated in your own box, right? Not sitting here and just working on code, not asking questions, especially like if you're dealing with trying to solve a problem and you can't really solve it. Reach out to a team member, reach out to someone that can help you. If you're freelancing and you don't have a team, ask AI, ChatGPT, go to Stack Overflow, ask this question, like, how do I go about solving this? Having a community of developers that's gonna help you with a particular problem and give you feedback to then execute and solve this problem, it is going to help you. Next thing is, I'm a big believer in having a web portfolio. Is it needed? Not really, but if you wanted to showcase your work and you wanted to have your web portfolio out there on the web where it's getting indexed by search engines, need companies that are looking for a developer for a particular tech stack that you outlined in your portfolio and is getting ranked, then you'll get reached out for opportunities based off of the projects that you worked on, your skill set, how long you've been doing the work. All that will be on your portfolio ready to go. It's pretty much like, if you look at it as like a resume, right? On your resume, you have all the basic information about yourself, what you're aspiring to do, the companies that you worked for, the skill set that you have, all of the stuff that you worked on with different companies, and how you can provide value. A web portfolio does just that, but then you have links to your projects that are out there in the web as well. That would allow hiring managers or just other companies to look at the work that you've done. And then they'll ask you questions about those projects, and you could, with confidence, talk about it and be like, hey, I worked on this. This is the tech stack that I used. This is what I built, and this is why it's beneficial, right? So having a portfolio, also a GitHub account helps too. You could push all your projects to GitHub. That's going to show that you know how to work with it to version some of your projects, pushing changes to a branch, understanding branching strategy, understanding commits. Next thing is, and I'll finalize with this, is to never give up. Never give up if you are aspiring to become a developer and you have hit a plateau. First couple days, you've been on the grindstone, you've been working, you've been putting things together, you've been understanding the key fundamentals, been building, but then you started getting discouraged based off of job market and how finding a job is very tedious and is very oversaturated to some people. Never give up. Keep building, keep iterating. Set a schedule for yourself to work on these projects. Set a schedule for yourself to learn and grow. The biggest thing is that if you give up, then you could be this close to either finding a job or just getting to that skill set, busting through that ceiling to where now you could do the work. You have the means to learn and grow and build and tackle and solve this problem. The hardest problems is what's going to help you become more successful. Working on the easiest problems is going to make you feel comfortable, and it's not going to help you with your growth. It's not going to help you become more well-versed in your career. That's it, guys. That's the video. If you like this video, please like, share, subscribe. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me at my email. My email is thefullstackbro@gmail.com. It's also on my channel, so I have it linked here. All right, talk soon.